My name is Brittany Stewart. I am 24 years old. I've been married for about 7 months now. Recently got a new puppy. Her name is Mia. Puppies are fun. And just working hard, trying to do something great with my life. I'm actually a twin. His name is Blake, but he passed away when he was 2.5. And that started the roller coaster of my upbringing. My parents divorced when I was 12, and I have 2 younger sisters who are my rock, but we are 6 and 8 years apart. The reason for the big age gap is that my mother had a couple of miscarriages. So there was Blake, there was me, miscarriages, and then my 2 younger sisters. That alone can rock anybody's world. Due to my lack of self-definition, I didn't understand my self-worth. I found myself in very bad situations in school. There was bad relationships, there was bad friendships because I was searching for someone to essentially love me. I know my mother will always love me, but it's hard when you're not able to feel that, So I was always trying to find it the quickest way possible, and that's obviously going to be through toxic relationships. I was in a very bad relationship I've never talked about that actually. It was about 1.5 years. That's when a lot of my depression and anxiety really started coming to play. That was maybe junior, sophomore year of high school. Because when you lose yourself in a relationship and your home life, you really just kind of are going at the whim of what people want of you. I lost essentially who I was, the value of myself, my morals, my compass, my rock. I was, 16, trying to get my world to be put back. If you think of yourself as a puzzle, as a complete whole puzzle when you're born, as time went on, I felt like people were taking away those pieces to where when I would have those moments of self-doubt, another piece was taken. To where when you would look at my life, it made no sense. There was literally nothing there. I learned I couldn't make my mother happy. So that's where the no longer broken comes into play, because that absolutely broke me, that I couldn't fulfill that for her. My story is always being written. It hasn't stopped. My past, there's nothing I would change. The future, what I would want, is I currently don't have a relationship with my mother. She wasn't invited to my wedding. I haven't talked to her in over a year because I'm not ready. I hope that in the future there'll be one, but this isn't a let's bash my mom session. This isn't about her. This isn't about what she did or what she's done. She is a great mother to my sisters. That's all I can ask. If I have to sacrifice my relationship with her to be there for my sisters, that's all that matters, is that they're taken care of. That they have both a mom and a dad who love them. I realized I needed help when I developed a very severe panic attacks, basically. It started off with depression, being a little sad, because I feel like that stems from your self-worth, knowing who you are, what you stand for. And then it derived into anxiety, and just being like a little chihuahua, I think is the best way to describe how I was. If someone looked at me wrong in the hallways in high school, or if I feel like someone didn't like me, I was so nervous. I was so insecure in who I was. I was making up stories of what other people thought of me, and I made that my definition, and it was scary. And then I developed my panic attacks. Those were bad. It developed into like a really weird, it came out in weird ways. For some reason, it's stemmed itself to food, basically, was like the trigger. So anytime I was sitting down for dinner or going out to a restaurant or anything, I would just have such a big pit in my stomach. I couldn't eat, I couldn't breathe, I couldn't function. I would immediately make it to the booth and everyone knew I'd be in the bathroom. I can't really explain why that anxiety, the panic attacks triggered that way. I just really think my stomach was just so in knots. I was just so at a bad place. That's just where that correlation came into play. And so I'm a very small girl, you know, and I was able to drop 20 pounds because of my lack of self-care. I was tired of waking up and feeling less than. You know, I was tired of waking up and being so hard on myself. I was tired of waking up and not having myself be my biggest support, because that's what you need to get through life. You have to support yourself before you can support others. I knew I was engaged. Obviously, I'd be moving quickly into marriage and all that stuff, and I knew if I needed to be there for my husband, I had to be there for myself first. And I was tired of being small. I'm not meant to be small. My story, we tend to focus on the negative, but that wasn't it. You know, I had my father and my grandmother and my sisters. Without them, I wouldn't be anywhere close to who I am. You know, so that was the big one. The next one would be meeting my husband. We met when we were 19, and he is an amazing guy. And he saw such an amazing thing in me, and I didn't even see it for myself. You know, I was still so young and stuff. Ooh. It's not tears of sadness anymore. It's pure joy. And that's how you know you're doing something. When you're happy, when you cry for happiness, who does that? I mean, my husband would tell you I cry at everything. But being 19 and trying to figure out your life and being in college and not knowing even if you're in the right major, making the right friends, or doing the right thing. And for him, who is so, I'm at a loss for words. He's incredible. He's a godly man, he's strong, and he fights, and he comes from a, what you would call the white picket fence family, you know, which is not negative. He has the parents, he's a twin as well, and he has the sister, and I never thought someone coming from that would want me coming from something so from the outside appearing broken. Being able to transition to where I'm at now is up to God. Like, that was a huge, huge God thing, because he gave me the ability and the power and the strength and the confidence to overcome that. So what I'm doing now, which I love talking about, is a blog called Confident Girl Confessions. So the essence of that started about maybe 6 months ago, maybe even longer than that now, about 9 months before I was married. The theory behind it, my big goal was, I'm not the confident, at the time, I was not the confident girl. We always dream about being, you know, waking up one day and just feeling beautiful and singing and dancing and all of that stuff. I was so not that girl. So now, what I was doing then, I guess, was each week I would write about something that I was working on, something that I learned to get me one step closer to that girl, that dream confident girl that I've always have wanted to be. It started off with writing about things like fear and the toxins that are in your mindset, and kind of how to overcome like really mundane tasks, how to make life fun. I was like, you know, this can be bigger, because I can sit here and write about myself and what I'm going through all day long, but someone else may not be able to relate to that. Someone else may need more information. They may need other insight, other perspectives. And that's when I started my CGC community. And that is where I've just started in my general network of people. It doesn't have to be just females or anything, but anyone who wants to tell their story. So far, you know, I've had 5 amazing people on my program, essentially. The first one, his name was Jose, talking about his divorce and his depression and all of that stuff. And when I knew I was doing something right was when someone messaged me and said, Brittany, I watched that video and I saw myself in him. I know I needed help then, so I went out and got it. That's when I knew I'm doing what God is wanting me to do. So essentially with my blog, I want to build a community of support. If anyone can get on the internet, relate to stories, anything like that, but I need it to be genuine and I need it to be just something really authentic is what I'm wanting to do, because I'm not very surfacey. I want to get to the meat, I want to fix your problems, I want to know your inner thoughts, and I'm able to do that. So there's always going to be something I grow from, because that's what life is all about. Not taking it for granted and doing the best you can to move forward. But I really feel like I've grown, even from a month. I always try to really make that a point to grow from whatever's in front of me, because I will never settle again. So I think that was the biggest growth, I think, was over the last 5 years. Being out of my hometown that I grew up in, making the choices I did with my future relationships, and really starting from the bottom, like, who am I? What do I stand for? What am I gonna do? What is my core? What is my foundation? Resilient, strong, no longer broken, and no longer defined by others. So I think I was I'm not gonna lie, I was very broken, I was very lost, and I was able to repair my foundation and hopefully build something really great on top of it. Don't be afraid to ask for help. That's why my problems lasted as long as they did. Because 1, I thought they were normal. 2, I didn't talk about it. Like I mentioned, my dad and my grandma are the only reasons why I was able to overcome the obstacles I did. I can't tell you how many hours I've talked to them just over the last 5-6 years of just going over the same topics over and over and over, making sure I'm checking in with them, making sure my mental health is where it's supposed to be. Just don't be afraid to outreach to anyone, because you'd be very surprised on who has the knowledge, but who also has that love and support that you're actually needing. If I can overcome everything that I have, you have more than enough ability to overcome your problems. I'm Brittany Stewart, and I am a conqueror. Gonna make me tear up. I'm so emotional.